Today is the perfect day to have a sandwich, and what better way than a Mississippi pot roast French dip slider? This slider was so delicious, y'all. The meat was nice and tender. The sandwich was nice and cheesy. I mean, this was such an awesome sandwich. So let's get into how I made it. First, I started by seasoning my chuck roast with some salt and pepper, and then I busted out my cast iron skillet and I let it brown on all sides. I definitely suggest using a cast iron skillet if you have one. It just helps your chuck roast and your thick cuts of meat like this. It helps brown them up really, really nicely. So I would definitely pull it out. Then once it was brown on all sides, I added it to my crock pot, and then I started on my sauce. I added some butter to help pick up some of the bits at the bottom, and then I chopped up about 2 to 3 onions, and then I added in some woo woo sauce, some Better Than Bouillon beef paste, a onion soup pack mix, an au jus gravy mix packet, and I added all of that to the pan, and I just let it simmer on low until everything was well combined. I added in some beef stock just to add some liquid to the mixture, and then I added in my seasoning. So some parsley, Melinda's Fire roasted habanero sauce, some pepperoncini peppers. I added some juice from the peppers, and I also added in some of the peppers themselves. Once I had the flavor that I wanted, I added that mixture to my crock pot, and I let this cook low and slow for about 6 hours. So at the 4th hour, this is about the 4th hour, I came back to check on it, and it was already starting to fall apart. It was, as you can see here, look at that. It was nice and juicy. So I shredded it up. I added it back to the pan, and I let it go for another 2 hours. Then I started to assemble my sandwiches. I got some French bread. I hollowed out the middle, took some of the bread out. That way I could have enough room for my meat. And I added some pepper jack and provolone cheese to the mixture. And I also added in some French's crispy fried onions. And I baked this until the cheese was nice and toasty and the bread was nice and crunchy. I added my chuck roast shredded beef mixture to my sandwiches, and it came out so delicious, you guys.